Good afternoon, and thank you for joining us today. Please join me in our opening prayer. The energy of love is within us and is us. Whole and complete is the I am that we are. We awaken to the truth of our being, and we will this be done within and without. May we come to recognize that we receive all that we give. We know that we have forgiven ourselves when we forgive others of all grievances held within our minds. May we not be led into temptation by the voice of separation, but instead may we transcend all illusion, for ours is the power, love, and peace of Christ consciousness found within each of us, who is but the perfect extension of the one mind and heart that is shared by all and is our birthright as the holy extensions of love itself. Our affirmation of faith: we believe in one God, the author and energy of all life, whose love sustains the universe and all things found within it. Our 5 principles. We believe there is only one energy in the universe, and that energy is love at all times, active in everyone, everywhere. We believe that we are the divine energy of love, and that energy is found throughout the universe and in all things, whether seen or unseen. And we believe that we create our experiences by what we choose to think, feel, and believe, thereby establishing our responsibility for our own choices. We believe that through opening our heart center, we connect with the energy of love and bring out the Christ within us. And we express our desire to be of service when we live and demonstrate Christ consciousness in all our affairs.
Thank you, Penny. I'd like to welcome everyone who's here, who's watching, and who will watch later this week. Thank you for joining us here at the Church of Christ Consciousness. Today, I'm going to continue with the series that I've been doing for the last few weeks. They're based on many ebooks that I have written and should be published here pretty soon. Today's talk is going to be on releasing victimhood for true power. So one more time, releasing victimhood for true power. And I'm going to ask Miss Penny, if she would, to read a little excerpt from the mini ebook that is titled the same thing. So if you would, please welcome Miss Penny back.
The silent cost of the victim identity. The hidden prison. At first glance, victimhood feels like protection. It offers a kind of strange safety. It's a place where we can explain our pain, gather sympathy, and justify our fear of stepping forward. But underneath, it builds an invisible prison, not made of iron bars, but from our long-held beliefs. I can't, it's too hard, they won't let me, life is against me. The walls grow higher with each repetition, and the longer we stay within these walls, the more powerless we feel. We don't realize that it is not life that is keeping us within these walls. It is the story we continue to tell ourselves about life. The tragedy is not the painful event itself, but the real tragedy is the way we build our identity around it. My personal awakening. For much of my journey, I wore the victim identity without even knowing it. When I lost my sight, it would have been so easy, and for a time it was easy, to fall into the narrative that life had done something to me. The feelings of injustice, sadness, and fear were real. They weren't imagined. And for a while, I thought that honoring my experience meant defending my pain, guarding it, and making it sacred. But over time, something began to shift. A quiet whisper stirred in my heart. Is this really who I am? Is this really all that I am? I began to see that I was not the story of my loss. I was not the blindness, and I was not the light behind it. I was the light behind it. It's the light that has always been there. It was always just waiting for me to remember. To remember the events of my life did not define my being. They merely revealed it. And so, step by step, I began to lay the victim story down. I didn't lay it down because my pain was invalid, but because I was so much more than that. True power comes with responsibility. It is a beautiful truth, but a sobering one. And the moment we stop being a victim, we reclaim our power. And in that moment, we reclaim our responsibility. No longer can we point outward and blame the world for our unhappiness, nor can we wait for others to fix us, save us, or make it right. True spirituality, gently but firmly, invites us to our own creative power. It asks us to say, I am not helpless. I am not abandoned. I am not without choice. This is not about blaming ourselves for what has happened. It is about realizing that from this moment forward, we are free to create a new story, a story that reflects the truth of who we really are. We can choose peace instead of resentment. We can choose forgiveness instead of bitterness. And we can choose to rise instead of remain chained to the past. This is where our true power lies. It does not live in domination over others. Instead, it lives in the sovereignty that we have over our own inner world. And from there, the world outside begins to change too.
Thank you again, Penny. Guys, I want everybody to realize something. Spirituality and enlightenment doesn't tell us that our experiences didn't happen. We did have the experience. We felt it. We felt the hurt and everything that goes along with being betrayed or being a victim to others or even to outside circumstances. Spirituality, again, does not tell us that we didn't have the experience. Spirituality tells us the experience doesn't define us. We define the experience, but only after we are willing to release victimhood. Now I want you to stop just for a minute and think of a time, maybe in the past or a recent event, where you felt like a victim. Can you recall it? Good. Now I want you to answer this. Did that experience define you? And isn't that experience nothing more than a story? It is a story that often just plays over and over and over in our minds. And every time it plays, we fall deeper into victimhood. And we begin to think to ourselves, I could have said this, or I could have done this, I could have been better, which only makes us more of a victim. The story of victimhood, once it starts playing over and over, creates a rabbit hole, and we just become more victimized to the story. And then we begin to believe that it defined us. Now, I am not going to disparage religion. For most of it, that's how most of us got where we are. I do want to say this about religion. Religion supports victimhood. It supports it through guilt, shame, and we're told that we're unworthy. Guilt, shame, and unworthiness are the hallmarks of victimhood. And every time we feel that we think we're guilty, we feel shameful, and we believe that we are unworthy, we're setting ourselves up for a deeper victim story. Now think about what I just said. We set ourselves up. It isn't that it was done to us. By the very fact that we believe it to be real, we've now given our power over to something that seems to be external. In fact, religion teaches us that we can be asserted on, that we can be, and we have to deal with external forces. That is not true. In spirituality, the only force is the force of love that is within us. The power of love that we are. But the moment that we think that there is an external force, we have subjugated our power. And because we did that, we will pay the consequence. We will pay the price for it. What I'm trying to say is, we don't have to. Victimhood is a story. Now, again, I am not telling you that you didn't have the experience. What I'm telling you is the experience does not define who you are in truth. It was just simply a story. It happened, and the story is over. Like all things in time, everything has a beginning and everything has an end. But yet we attach ourselves to the story, and we do not want to let the story of that go, because we have now allowed the stories of our victimhood to define our identity. And do you wonder why we're so confused? Right now, and I'm going to be very careful as to how I say this, turn on the evening news for 5 minutes, and you will hear victim story after victim story, victimhood. Everybody's a victim these days to something. Are we really a victim to it, or did we unwillingly give our power away? That's what this talk is about, is claiming or reclaiming your power, taking your power back, and to recognize that the stories that we keep telling ourselves do not define us. So what does spirituality say? How are we defined? We're defined as images and likeness of God, as creators, because that is what God is, and that all power rests within us. Now, does that mean that if something happens that you shouldn't feel hurt or maybe abandoned or any other feeling? No, that's not what I'm saying. For we all have the right to our feelings. But when we get stuck in the feeling and we keep it playing over and over, it grows. It becomes a story. And because now we are attached to it, it becomes a part of our identity. And that is the hardest part to let go. Again, I'm not saying don't have the feeling. Whatever happened within the experience, feel it. If you need to cry, cry. If you need to yell at something, yell at something. And then let it go. Release it. Because choice is your greatest power. Feel it and release it. As my mom used to say, you have to feel it to heal it. So feel it, and then get on with healing it. There is no one going to heal it for you. No one is going to save you from your stories. You must do that. That's your job. You are responsible for saving yourself from your own stories. Well, how do we do that? We do it by recognizing that what happened in the past. It cannot hurt us in the present moment unless we pull it from the past into the present moment. If it's a story, it's over and done with. Let it go. So my question is, why do we keep playing the same things over and over and over in our mind? Again and again and again. Because we are attached to it. And when I say we're attached, we are attached to the grievance that is formed by it. Always remember that if we are hurt and we do not heal the hurt, it becomes anger. And anger left unchecked becomes a resentment or a grievance. And now you have a story. So what exactly in it are we attached to? We are attached to the grievance. A grievance is where we say, you hurt me. You did this to me. Again, I'm not telling you the experience didn't happen and that somebody didn't do something to, in that moment, upset you. But you don't have to hold on to it. Feel it, release it, and continue on with your life. That's how you live a powerful life. That's true power. It's when you immediately choose again. Yes, you feel the hurt. If you get to the point that you recognize your anger, feel the anger. And then dump it. And you dump it using forgiveness, where you forgive the other and yourself. But you may be asking, why would I need to forgive? I didn't do it to me. The other person did it to me. Why do I need to forgive myself? Well, here's the key. And this is the big key. This is the master key. Because it goes like this. You allowed yourself to continue to play in it. That's what you're forgiving yourself for. You're allowing yourself to play in victimhood. Yes, you did it. I'm not asking that you make yourself guilty over it. I am asking, though, that you forgive yourself for it. The moment that you recognize you've been playing in a victim story and creating a new grievance, or playing with an old grievance. Grievances, like resentments, are the number one offender. They rob us of our peace. Victimhood robs us of our peace. In the Bible, Jesus called it the thief in the middle of the night. And then he goes on to say, if the master knew at what hour the thief was coming, he would have stayed awake. The problem is, most of us aren't masters of our mind well enough to recognize when the thief has already appeared. We've long since lost our peace. It's been taken from us. Actually, we gave it away the moment we began to play in the story of victimhood. Yet we don't have to. That's the point of today's discussion, of today's talk. We do not have to play in it any longer. Now, you have the absolute right to be as miserable for as long as you want to be. It's your right. But would you rather be right or at peace? Would you rather be right or happy? You cannot be at peace and happy in stories of victimhood. It doesn't work that way. And it never will. So something has to go. Something has to be released. Well, if you're playing in a story of victimhood, you've already released your happiness and your peace. So now you have to go reclaim them. And the only way to pick them back up and reclaim them is to release the story of victimhood, the hurt, the anger, the grievance. I'm not telling anyone here that that's easy. As Miss Penny read earlier, I shared a little bit about my story about losing my eyesight in the mini ebook. And I will tell you, and I will not sugarcoat it, it was hard, and I felt like a victim. Boy, did I feel like a victim. I felt like God, the world, everything had come at me. And for 10 months, I could not move because I was so paralyzed with fear. And the more I sat there with it, the worse it got. And then one day I had to make a choice. Blindness could either define me, or I could define the blindness. One is powerlessness, the other is all power. As long as blindness was defining me, I was a victim and powerless. But when I took my power back and claimed that I define the blindness, everything changed. I went to blind school for 3 years and do pretty well getting about. Things that I thought I could never do again bet me. There is one thing, boy would I love to do it, but I don't think it's going to happen anytime soon, and I would love to drive a car. But I'm not a victim to it. I'm not a victim to not being able to drive a car, because I have wonderful friends who drive me about, never question, are always there. That's love. Love is always found on the side where power is. Fear is found on the side of powerlessness. Now, I don't know about you, but love is much better. And I'm going to close with this. Fear. Fear is nothing but love wanting to be heard. A grievance is nothing but love wanting to be acknowledged. Grief is nothing but love remembered. So if you can always take it back to love, you will find where your power is really at. But as long as you stay in victimhood, you stay in powerlessness and fear. And they will rob you of everything that is good and holy. That's all they can do. But unlike fear, love gives. It never takes. and it gives more. And the more you act from a state of love, from a state of your true power, remembering that you are responsible because you are a creator, that's when life really begins to take shape. Again, it doesn't mean that things aren't going to happen, but it does mean that you can stay calm and at peace in the very middle of a storm and not be a victim. Yes, the experiences will happen, but you've had a change in perception, one where what you think has been happening to you now just becomes an experience that is happening and will pass. You've all heard the saying, "This too shall pass." It will pass. And that, my dear friends, is peace. That's happiness. That's power. We're not stuck unless we choose to be. We are free to get up and dust our rear ends off anytime we're ready and start moving again. Or we can sit there, continue to be in and play in victimhood until we grow roots and we never move and live life. We're stuck. The choice is yours. I can only tell you, using blindness and that experience, that I could very easily have sat and stayed in the story and be a victim. But there was some part of me that knew that I couldn't do that. I wanted to live. I wanted to experience life. Yes, I had to go to blind school. Yes, there was a lot of work involved in it. But it wasn't work as in a job. It was work that I was doing for me. And there is power in that. There's excitement in it because there's growth. There is no growth in victimhood. There's none in victimhood. There is nothing good, beautiful, and holy about being a victim. All things that are good, beautiful, and holy is in life, because life is God. And when you experience life, you are experiencing the God within you. When you are experiencing a victim and being a victim, you're experiencing the ego. You're experiencing darkness. So make a choice. The choice is yours. You can be at peace and happy or be miserable. The choice is always ours. And we can change our mind at any time. So thank you. And as we bring this to a close, I would like to offer a blessing instead of a meditation. It's kind of a blessing / meditation. May we know the truth of who and what we are. May we come to recognize in every moment we have the decision of what we think and feel next. May we understand that we can choose again at any time, any place, anywhere. And may we truly know from the depth of our heart that we are love. And may we know that our experiences don't define us, we define them. And may we know that all power is in life and is in love, not fear. And may we go from this moment forward with our eyes open, our hearts open, our mind open. And we look at a changed world because we know we changed. And because we changed, the world has to change. That's how much power we truly have. Thank you. And until next week, have a good one. Well, I will see you at the same time right here next Sunday. Have a good one.